Hello paper crafters, I'm Sunny Sky and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And this is the card we're making today. Kind of the cool thing about this is the little notch out here so that your ribbon will stay in place. And here are the cardstock sizes that you need for today's project, as well as a couple kinds of ribbon we're using. Now I've gone ahead and adhered these two layers of cardstock together, and we're going to use a small circle punch and just punch out about half of the circle on the top and the bottom over to the side of the card. And you can line it up by lining up the edge of your punch with the edge of the cardstock. If you do that on the top and the bottom, you'll get them in about the same place. And then I attached about 18 inches of ribbon, and I'm pulling the narrower ribbon straight behind the wider ribbon. So this is the sheer ribbon, is the white, and it's very narrow. And then we have the finely woven ribbon, and this is in Tranquil Tide. So I'm trying to just feature some of the colors that are in colors, and I decided this was a really lovely shade of green, sort of bluish green, but I could use it on my leaves because I've got the ribbon that I wanted to do a card with. Alright, so I'm just tying both of those together. And you can adjust where this is. It's a little bit more difficult when you've got this in the little slot, but you can sort of wiggle it up and wiggle it down on your card. So we're using the terrific Tulips set for this card, and if you're using a two-step stamping step like this, the more solid images are going to be in the paler color, and then the ones with more detail will be in the darker color. And I've chosen to not only use the Fresh Fig, but also to use Wisteria Wonder. But let me start with my Tranquil Tide stems, and we're going to off-center this image on the front of the card because we've got room for that ribbon that we've already attached. I'm just going to stamp off and make these leaves a little paler. And we could have done that with the Fresh Fig as far as the tulips, but I just really wanted to get a little extra contrast, and so I chose to use that Wisteria Wonder. And let me just stamp again without re-inking. Get a little more pale color there. Okay, so now we're going to go for Wisteria Wonder on our tulips. I'm going to do the largest tulip in the center. When you're working with these dimensions, you do want to get your stems pretty close to the bottom of the cardstock so that you have room for those tulips to come up. Oops. Wisteria Wonder again, and we'll do the two smaller images. And when you are doing the two-step stamping, it is pretty handy to have these photopolymer stamps. Now I'm going into the Fresh Fig with the larger image, or the detailed image. Try and line up with the bottom of the tulip. There we go. And then the two smaller ones. I was a little off on that one. And there are some small images in this stamp set as well for the little stamen on your tulip. And so we have the ones that are close together. Those are for the small flowers. And then there's another one that's farther apart, has a little break in it, and that would be for your large flower. And we're not worried about them exactly touching. These are just basically the ends that are coming off of the little stems of color in the center there. So that's pretty much it, the basic stamping that we've done there. And then we're just going to adhere this to the card and then add our greeting on top. And I'm just making the top and the two sides. It's like I've got some color in there. Well, you know, if you have a little color you weren't planning on, you can just drag the edge of your cardstock through the ink pad, get a little extra color there. There we go. Always a way to fix a mistake with paper, huh? Alright, and then I'm going to put a greeting down here. And I'm just taking a scrap of cardstock And this saying is from the Thoughts and Prayers stamp set. And I'm just going to cut out part of that. I'm just going to try and make a fairly straight line here. In my sample, I did it in the Tranquil Tide. This time I'm doing it in the Fresh Fig. No rhyme or reason to that. Either way works. And we're just making a little banner in the cardstock here. A little uneven banner apparently. And we're just going to pop it up on some dimensionals. And that adds a little dimension to the card. The ribbon adds some dimension to the card. Just makes it look a little fancier when your recipient receives it. And there we go. Alright, and there is my original. So that's a simple Tulips card. This is a Hostess set. So you put in an order of $150 US or host your own show and you can get that set for free. Isn't that cool? So I hope you have a great day crafting.